Welcome to Life Renovations. I know I've missed your voice too, Tara. I'm so happy you guys are all in class. This is exciting. I am Carrie Collins. I think you guys all know me. This is our first week of Life Renovations class. So let's start off with some logistics just so you know what to expect. For each class, you'll need to log into Fusebox like you have, either on your computer or you can also use your iPhone or your iPad. The link that you all received in your confirmation email will work each week. You just might want to bookmark it so that you don't always have to go to the Stretch Chi website before class. We'll have class at noon, at 5 p.m. and at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you miss one, you can always log back in at a different time. The room number will always be the same. It's up at the top. It's 221-53235. That room number is important because if you call in, you'll need it. And if you don't have that number, if you use a different number, then you're going to end up in the wrong classroom and I'll be in the next room talking. You'll miss it. So make sure that you have that number. The quality of your sound is determined by your internet speed. So I really recommend both logging in online so that you can see my face and calling in on your telephone so that the audio is really clear, especially if it sounds like it's breaking up. Most people don't have problems, but every once in a while you do. So if your audio starts to get mixed up, just call in. It's that easy. To get friendly with Fusebox, look at the icons at the top of your screen or at the bottom of your iPhone or your tablet. There are some icons, a few important ones. First, there's an icon that looks like a telephone handset. That's the most important. That's how you're going to hear me. So be sure if you're listening in on an iPad or an iPhone that you turn on your audio. It doesn't happen automatically. Don't ask me why. Second, that's also where you can call in so you can see what the phone numbers are and it has the room number and all of that. Second, there's a little icon that looks like a talking bubble from a cartoon. That's how we'll communicate in your class. You're muted during the webinar, so it's important that you open the chat window. Feel free to make comments. You can chat. Right now it seems like you can only chat with me or maybe with everyone. If it says your name and then it says everyone, then you're chatting with everyone. Otherwise, it'll say like from you to Carrie Collins, that means you're only chatting with me. So you may need to look around and see. It looks like some of you can write to everyone and some of you can't. So I'll look into that and see if I can figure out what's going on. But feel free to make comments, chat with each other, and ask questions as they come up. I'm happy to answer any questions as they come. I can also just leave the room open at the end for any questions or answers or any comments, anything that you want to bring up after class. So we'll keep the line open a little bit longer after I finish up. Okay, so if you have any questions, just throw them right into that chat as we go. I really want this to be as interactive as possible, so don't hesitate to ask anything you want. And if at any point you're having trouble figuring out the computer program or can't hear me or something's going on, let me know right away and we'll get it back on track. But again, the best success that I found is to not only be online on your computer, but also to call in on your phone so that you can really get good audio. Our classes are going to focus mainly on your lessons. You'll have a transcript in the book form, so you don't need to read it before class. Some of the exercises, though, you have to do yourself. For instance, we're not going to meditate in class because then that'd just be a bunch of silence and it's kind of wasted airtime. So you're going to get instructions for how to do your meditations and then you'll have to do them on your own throughout the week. Also, we're not going to be doing our stretches online because some of you are at work or in places where you can't really do much and it might look funny. So I'll include on your special page on the Stretch Chi website some videos for stretching and also the video from class in case you miss class one week. If you do miss a class, you can always just read the chapter and get started on the next week. Just keep moving forward. You can also watch the video after the fact. So just keep moving along. So if a Monday happens and you just can't get online, don't worry about it. You're going to be able to catch up. I've also opened up a group on Facebook. I think all of you guys are on it by now. You should have received the invitation this morning. If you're not, let me know and I'll get that fixed for you. I really want you to make use of this group. It is a secret private group that is only open to the people who've signed up for this class who are taking it right now. So any comments that you make will only be seen by the people who are in class and by me and won't be shown to the general population. So it's private. I really think it's great to have a support system when you're making these kind of changes. So use it, check in with people, make sure that you're using this as a way to communicate with each other. It's also a way that you can reach out to me during the week if you have any questions or you need some inspiration or just some information. Feel free to ask away all week long. It's totally fine. So in order to create change in your life, you have to start with becoming aware of the amount of change that's happening all around you at all times. Through the way we increase our awareness and allow change to happen, you'll start to see that the world isn't just material things like buildings and furniture and electronics, but it's a real vibrant and living thing, that everything around you is alive and it was built from living material and through the life and inspiration of the people around you. Everything around you is full of life and vitality. Now, it requires a new understanding to see the world in this way, but when you do, you'll be inspired daily and gain confidence to realize that your hopes and dreams are just as attainable as the person who built the chair you're sitting on or the computer that you're using right now. When you come to this realization, your life will have a much deeper and clearer meaning than ever before. So building happy and healthy habits starts with positive thinking. What we are depends on how we think. What we are states what we can do. So if you continue through the entire 4-course series, you'll go through exercises that will help you change the way you think. One of the greatest texts on controlling your thoughts was written in 1912 by Charles Haniel. It's called the Master Key System. Many of the principles in this book are taken from this classic. So each week I'm going to teach you a lesson on positive thinking and help you focus on each principle during the week in your guided journaling exercises. If you do the exercises, even if they seem silly, you'll be surprised at what you come out with. And as you proceed through this course, you'll be given questions to answer in a private notebook. Now, I suggest setting a specific time aside once a week to go through these questions. They won't take you very long, 15 minutes, half hour maybe. Some of them are more in depth than others, but you're going to need to do them right away. It's great to do it right after class when everything's still fresh and you're still in the same mindset of like, this is class time. Some questions will be soul searching, some will be really light and easy, but try to be as honest with yourself as you can. And the way that you can do this is to protect your notebook from people around you. Sometimes we can be afraid that maybe someone might read it, and so you let that fear get into your answers, and they influence what you say. I want this to be as honest as possible. So if someone else reading your notebook is a real fear for you, write the answers and email them to yourself in a private email or something that's password protected. Put it in a Google document or something that people don't have access to around your house. Now, I keep all my answers in a notebook. So I have my Moleskine. I'm a total Moleskine snob that I journal in every day. And I also have my printed up book of life renovations and a binder that I keep all of my guided journaling in as well. For me, I live by myself and I keep them close to myself, but I don't have family members who snoop or any reason to think that anyone would ever read them. So it's not a problem for me to have them just laying around. But if it's important for you, put them somewhere where they'll be safe. It's important that you complete these written exercises so that you can process your own goals and dreams. It's not enough to just log in each week. These exercises guide you to unveil what will make you feel truly purposeful in your life. Now, I can't tell you what that is, but I can help you figure it out if you do the exercises, so don't skimp on them. It's not a bad idea to do these exercises right after we finish class today. Each week, I will give you a meditation exercise. Meditation is scary for a lot of people, mainly because they don't understand how to do it. So each week, I'll give you very simple ways to build up to being able to meditate freely. Most of these meditations are done in complete silence, so I'm not going to guide you through them. You'll have to do them yourself. Now, meditating every day is ideal, but most people need to work into it slowly. You'll need to carve out a time that you sit peacefully. I do it right after I wake up in the morning. I make a cup of tea and I sit. Eventually, your meditation will lead into learning to focus and concentrate intensely on your goals. But each one builds on the other, and it's a learned practice. So do each meditation a minimum of 1 time and keep moving forward. You're going to learn. You're going to get better each time. Now, finally, each chapter will have a suggestion to begin building a healthy exercise and diet routine. Many of us have fears about how our bodies will handle exercise. I'm sure the idea of going to the gym seems ridiculous in the early stages of change if that's not something you're used to doing. So we're going to work into it slowly with some basic walking, stretching, and strengthening exercises. We're going to use a method called Kihara resistance stretching. It's really safe and a highly effective way to bring balance back to your body. It will not only build strength, it will remove tension, and it will improve your posture as well. More importantly, over the next 6 months, building strength and flexibility will give you more confidence in what your body can do so that you can start an exercise routine or something even more fun in the future. In addition, I'll introduce you to some very simple diet challenges each week to help you incorporate more health into your regular routine of eating. It's not a fad diet or about depriving yourself. It's about learning to love the foods that fuel you in a healthy and pleasing way. The class and guided journaling can be done today, but you'll need to start blocking off time in your schedule during the week for meditation, exercise, and diet. For some people, you may not have the time available in your schedule, so don't sweat it. My intention is to build you up really slowly. If you find that you're overwhelmed by meditation, exercise, or the diet changes, it's totally fine. You can decide to leave them out. This course is set up so that you can repeat it and continue to make change your entire life. If you don't master meditation this 6 weeks, you can always go back and start it again later and master the meditation. Focus on that at the next time. Important though, the first thing is this guided journaling. It's the most important thing you can do for right now. Now this course is part 1 of a 4-part series that will teach you how to live, how to grow, how to create, and finally how to feel complete. In the next 6 weeks though, I'll challenge you to be more aware of your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your emotional mind, and your spiritual mind. We'll focus on how to control these 4 aspects of yourself to build a strong mental foundation for the rest of your life, and finally learn what it is to be truly alive. So I am super excited to start this journey with you. We have a great group of people who have signed up. I think it's going to be super, super fun. So let's get started on chapter 1, which is all about awareness. Now there is a beautiful world inside of you. It's a world of light and life and beauty. And although it's invisible, it's much more powerful than most people believe is even possible. Peace in your inner world is reflected by your outer world. It's the foundation of health and greatness and power, attainment, achievement, and success. This inner world is where powerful people generate courage, hope, enthusiasm, confidence, trust, and faith. I'm going to teach you how you can become one of those powerful people. Your inner world is where you're given the intelligence to see your vision and the skills to make the vision your reality. The way we connect to our inner world is through our objective mind. The brain and nervous system is the pathway to this mind through our senses: sight, touch, smell, taste, and sound. When our minds are thinking clearly, we perceive the truth from our environment. We see things for what they are. We're aware of how we feel. We smell when something's rotten. We taste the food we're eating, and we hear what people are saying to us. We're able to make objective decisions with this information through our conscious mind. When your mind's not clear, though, these senses can't be read correctly. So we eat and we don't taste anything. We get in arguments and we don't listen. We walk through life without seeing the beauties and stopping to smell the flowers. But when the mind is thinking correctly, when the thoughts we send to our brain through the nervous system are constructive, we find that the things around us are pleasant and our lives are harmonious. Now, the result of a harmonious mind is that we build strength, vitality, and constructive forces into our body. It's through the same path that we allow all distress, sickness, lack, and limitation of every form in our lives. So you can see in this way how negative thinking is related to all the destruction of your body, mind, and spirit. Now, while the brain is the organ of your objective mind, the solar plexus is the organ of your subconscious mind. Now, the solar plexus is a bundle of nerves that meets right in the center of your abdomen. It's through the solar plexus that we perceive feelings of joy, fear, love, emotion, respiration, imagination, and all other subconscious feelings. It's through the solar plexus that we use our sixth sense, so we get a gut feeling or we get butterflies in our stomach. It's the second mind of the body that not only gives us insight into our subconscious mind, it's the pathway to perceiving the messages from the universal mind, from the mind outside of us, from all this information floating around in space. Trusting your gut allows you to perceive things that your objective mind can't sense. Now, because your conscious mind is objective, you can control it. But first, you need to be aware of the signals that you're giving it. You need to see what's happening in your outer world. When you do, you can change your thoughts to start a chain of events that will ultimately change the conditions in your outer world. Now, you signed up for this class because you felt the need for change. So what is it that you want to change? Do you want a new career? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to eat healthier and feel better? Do you want to be more confident and feel more stable or pull yourself out of a depressive slump? Are you feeling lost, or you just don't know where to go next, or you need to find focus? When you know what it is that you want to change, then you can start the process. So this week we're going to focus on becoming aware by taking inventory of our lives. And next week we'll start turning those things around. Now, the universal mind is full of potential energy that is manifested only when you think. When you put a thought out, this universal energy is compelled by its nature to embody itself in the object or condition that you ordered by the thought. So each thought is a cause, and every condition is an effect. Everything you think becomes your reality. And for this reason, it's essential that you control your thoughts to only bring what you really want into your life. All power is from within, and it's completely under your control. By understanding the principles I'll teach you through these next couple weeks and voluntarily doing the exercise I give, you'll be able to have complete control over your life. Now, the universal mind is compelled to create in the exact plan that it's been given. Now, if you don't believe this, just look outside. Every leaf on every tree is given the exact amount of food it needs from the earth so that it can grow to be a great tree. You are not unlike that tree. You're given everything you need to grow to be exactly who you're supposed to be. The tree doesn't wait for someone to water it. It takes nutrients from the ground, it takes carbon dioxide from the air, and it distributes it to each and every part equally. When you can see that the universe provides you with everything you need, you'll see that the biggest mistake you can make is to look for strength or power from someone other than yourself. All you need to do is open yourself up to receiving what the universe is willing to give you. So for your guided journaling this week, I'm going to ask you to come up with 30 different obstacles, physical obstacles, external obstacles, mental obstacles, all sorts of things that are holding you back. And next week, we're going to look at how to turn those around. But for now, I want to just take a quick second. We're going to do a 30-second quick writing challenge. So I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper. And for the next 30 seconds, I want you to write as quickly as possible as many reasons you can come up with that you join this class. Let me just get my timer ready. There we go. What are the things that are limiting you from complete success? Happiness and health. What are these things that are holding you back in your life? These things can be physical, like maybe your knees hurt or you're tired all the time, or they could be external obstacles like your in-laws are driving you nuts, or your commute's really long, or this person drives you crazy. My kids are killing me, right? These are external obstacles. And then you could have mental obstacles too, like I'm not very confident, or I get anxious, or whatever it is that holds you back, any fear that's there. So I want you to write for 30 seconds straight. I'm going to write 2, and here we go. Ready, set, go. Write as many things as you can think of. You got 10 seconds. And stop. Good. So if you feel like it, go ahead and write in the chat some of the things that came up for you. Some things for me, sometimes, fear. My family has expectations for me. So family expectations, they kind of hold me back. I travel a lot. Sometimes traveling can be a little bit of a detriment to my goals and dreams. Sometimes it's part of my goals and dreams. Sometimes it gets in the way. Money is always an issue, right? That's always one. Not having enough time, feeling tired, those sorts of things. What about you guys? Did anything come up for you? If you feel comfortable sharing, just go ahead and throw those in the chat. Building confidence is a great one. Anything else? I want to build my career, but not sure where to focus. That's great. That's great. Insecurities, of course. Very good. All right. Very good. So what I want you to do this week, we're not going to work on changing them now. I just want you to be aware, be really aware. And as you go through the week, I think more things are going to pop up. You're going to be really surprised at like, wow, this is really holding me back. And write it down, put it in your journal. Because we're going to take these next week and we're going to tear them apart. We're going to reverse them and start to make it, take these insecurities and these obstacles and turn them into opportunities. It's going to be really fun. So next, I want to talk to you about meditation. Now, most people think meditation is for monks in Tibet. It's not for everyday people. And I totally agree with that. Meditating for hours, trying to empty your mind and becoming enlightened is most likely not going to serve you in your everyday life. It's kind of like, I think if I sat for 5 hours a day in complete silence, there are a lot of things that I would miss out on, a lot of things that I would want to do. Now, I know every time I've tried meditating where I'm emptying my mind, I find myself wondering the whole time if I'm doing it right, or like, what am I supposed to get out of this? I'm just sitting around. And I know that it does calm me down, but there are other reasons for it. On the other hand, taking 15 to 30 minutes a day to listen to or to help guide your thoughts can be an incredibly valuable experience. I spend as much time as possible with my thoughts because that's when I learn the most about myself. I reflect on my feelings and my dreams about the future. I think about what my goals are and how to get them. It's really focused concentration. And it's quite possibly the only time I just get to hang out with myself, and I'm super awesome, so I love it. It's time for you to give yourself a little bit of time with your mind as well. The hardest part about meditation is just sitting still. So let me tell you a quick story about my piano student, Henry. Henry was a prodigy, and his parents came to me desperate to find a teacher for him when he was 3 years old. No one would take him. He was unruly, he was poorly behaved, he was horrible. But he loved music, and all he wanted to do was play the piano. So I took on the challenge. For the first couple months of lessons, all we did was train Henry to sit on the bench for long enough for me to teach him one little song. That's it. For some lessons, that's all we did, was get him to sit on the bench. Now imagine a 3-year-old sitting still and listening to you for 30 minutes. Forget it. Henry would run in circles around the bench. He would sit under the bench. He would run around the store. It was at a music store. But sitting on the bench, it's not going to happen. Eventually, Henry learned how to sit. And by the time he was 5, he was playing Beethoven. Now, your mind isn't much different than a 3-year-old when it comes to meditation. When you first start doing this, you're going to feel like running around in circles, or you're going to feel like sitting under the chair instead of on it. It's like your brain is running around just like a 3-year-old. Sitting still is going to be really difficult at first, so you have to train yourself to do that, and it takes time. So for this week's exercise for your meditation, I want you to train yourself to sit still for 30 minutes. Let your mind wander all at once. Don't try to contain your thoughts. Just listen to them. Allow your inner dialogue to go wherever it wants. You can talk out loud to yourself. You can keep your eyes open. The only challenge here is to stay seated. It's harder than it sounds. Don't lounge or lay down because you might fall asleep. Sit and think for as long as you can stand it. And set up a place for yourself where you can really meditate, where you won't be disturbed, and where you can feel comfortable sitting. Do this as many times this week as you want, but try for at least 3 times so that you can make some progress. What I do is I set my alarm for a half hour, and then I set the stopwatch on my phone. I do these both on my phone, and I run both of them at the same time so that I know if I go over 30 minutes, it'll stop me so I don't end up sitting there all day. But I also know how long I've gone. Now on page 11 in your book, there's a page for you to track your progress. I want you to check a box every time you feel the need to get up, but don't get up. Let me show you what this looks like. It's going to look a little bit like this. Let me get my little tools out. So here you can see day 1, there are 5 little boxes, and each box is a place for you to write a check mark. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to sit and sit and sit and sit until you get to the point where you're like, I can't do it anymore, and you stand up or you feel like you need to get up. And what I want you to do when you get that feeling of like, I can't do this anymore, put a check mark right in that little spot right there. And then don't get up. And then the next time you're like, no, really, I got to get up. I got to send a text message, or I got to brush my teeth, or I'm out of tea, or I don't know, I need something. Put a check mark and don't get up. 3rd time, same thing. When you get to the point where you feel like you need to get up and move around, put a check mark, don't get up. Do this 5 times. When you have 5 check marks, write your time in. Look at your stopwatch and see how far you got. The first time, it might be 3 minutes. You don't know. It could be that you do half an hour and you're fine, but it could be that you could barely stand it. You could be writing these check marks like check, 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 check. 30 seconds. It's not uncommon for that to happen in the beginning. The next day I want you to sit down and try it again. The goal here is that time between the freak out of like the panic of I have to get up, the time in between becomes longer and longer increments. And as that happens, you're going to find that it's really not that hard to sit for 30 minutes. But it does take a little bit of practice of getting over the fear of what you might be missing, or that you might forget something. You're going to be just fine. No one's going to die because the dishes need done, right? So you can take 30 minutes to yourself. The big point is just to sit still. All right, so we're looking at like 30 minutes for that. Do the best you can. And try, like I said, if you get in 3 days, you'll make progress. If you do it once, you'll make progress. If you do it 7 days this week, you're going to make amazing progress. But you need to find what works the best for you and for your schedule. All right? Next, we're going to move on to our physical challenge. Part of being one with your inner world is connecting with your body and your outer world. Now this week, I want to challenge you to take 10 minutes every day to walk outside. Now it's cold right now, so you're going to have to bundle up and maybe put on your boots or whatever, but 10 minutes, that's not very long. I mean, it takes me a half an hour to walk to work every day. So a 10-minute walk is like walking from like the street to the next street. It's really not that far. It's not that bad. You can even have a 10-minute walk when you're walking from one place to another, from work to a restaurant or whatever. I mean, I think you'd be surprised at how often you walk 10 minutes a day. What I want you to do is get in touch with your 5 senses, with the sensations that you're receiving from the information that's been given to you from the outside world. Every day or every walk, I want you to be aware of a very specific sense. This is going to create some focus for you. It's really a walking meditation. So day 1, you're going to look at sight. Look at everything you can possibly look at. Pay attention to details, the grass, the trees, your neighbor's house, the colors, the cars, everything you can see. And then when you get back home, take a second and just write a little bit about what you saw. Then the next day, you're going to do smell. Now smell's a little tricky because you have to inhale as you're doing it, so make sure that you exhale fully too, or you're going to hyperventilate. It's not fun. But I want you to think about, like, what does the air smell like? Can you smell things cooking? Can you smell the trees? Can you smell the leaves? Can you smell the weather? Like, does it smell like snow? Does it smell like humidity? Does it smell like rain? What kind of things do you notice when you're smelling? On the 3rd day, I want you to pay attention to touch. So notice how your feet feel on the ground. How does your body feel when it's walking? Do you notice any aches and pains? And then you can feel the temperature on your skin. See if you can feel the wind. Is it a heavy wind? Is it a light wind? You can take some time to touch some plants or a leaf on a tree or run your fingers along a fence. Just take some time to really feel. On the 4th day, I want you to pay attention to your taste buds. Now this is a tough one because taste and smell are very similar, so it might be kind of the same kind of thing. But see if you can differentiate between the two. What kind of taste do you have in your mouth? Can you taste the air? Does it taste like salt? Does it taste like snow? What does it taste like? What does it remind you of? Does it make you want to eat something specific, like a certain type of food? If someone is cooking, can you taste what they're cooking? I want you to really pay attention to the signals that you're getting from your outside world. And the last one, this is a great one, it's easy, is sound. What are the sounds you're taking in? Are they city noises? Are they sirens? Do you hear children? Do you hear birds? Are there bugs? Can you hear your own footsteps, or can you hear your heart beating? Can you hear your inner dialogue? Is there a song in your head? What do you hear? Now, one of the biggest challenges with this is to really focus on one sense. So maybe you're a visual learner, then you're probably going to find it very easy to see things as you're walking around as opposed to hearing things. And that day when you have to do sound, you're going to have to shut off your visual input a little bit to really focus on what you hear. Really interesting way to pay attention to the signals that are coming in and to focus on something very specific. It's a great meditation, and it starts building up a walking routine for you. Just 10 minutes a day, you'll be fine. Now this week is about awareness of what you're doing in your everyday life, and this also includes your diet. Most diets lately are about depriving yourself in order to lose weight. As you learn about the law of causation, that every thought has a real and tangible effect, you'll see that by depriving yourself to lose weight, you're actually creating a pattern of negative thinking. So throughout the week, I want you to pay attention to your thoughts about your body image and your weight. Realize that by telling yourself that you're overweight or that you need to diet, in effect creates more obesity and more dieting into your life. What we really want is to enjoy the food that we eat and to really feel good doing it. So I've created a plan that will introduce you to new foods and new ideas about how to eat so that you enjoy each and every minute of it. Now we'll get to that in the next few weeks, but for this week, you'll need to be aware of what you're saying to yourself about food. You can feel satiated and know that the fuel that you're giving your body is helping you to become a better, healthier, and stronger person. But for right now, we need to pay attention to what it is that you're actually doing in your present life so that we can change it. Your diet challenge for this week is to pick one day or even one meal when you can eat whatever you want as long as it's within your health guidelines, and write down any thoughts that come up where you use the words should or can, or the opposite words shouldn't or can't. You want to get rid of those. And for this week, just pay attention to it. I mean, Thanksgiving is we've got Thanksgiving. I don't know, did you already have Canadian Thanksgiving? I think you did. Anyway, Thanksgiving is one of those days, yo, I guess that means yes. So Thanksgiving is one of those great moments where you're like, I should eat pumpkin pie because it's Thanksgiving and you should eat pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. But what if you don't even want it? What if you don't like pumpkin pie, but you feel like you should? I want you to think about those things and write down what kind of observations that you come up with. All right. So this week is a lot about awareness. It's a lot about building up the ideas and figuring out what it is that we actually want to change. When you know what you want to change, then you can start changing it. We're going to work on that next week. Now, also the last thing is about tracking your progress. Now, this is at the very end of every chapter. There are a couple pages that are set up to help you keep track of how you're changing. Now, what I want you to do is in the beginning of the week after class, you'll do your guided journaling. Throughout the week, you'll focus on meditation, diet, and exercise. And then, like Sunday night or even Monday before class, sit down. It'll take you 10 to 15 minutes to track your progress. Maybe not even that long, maybe even just 5 minutes. In the beginning, we're going to track some physical changes, some emotional changes, some mental changes, and some spiritual changes. Some of the questions are like, on a scale from 1 to 10, how healthy do you feel? How physically fit do you feel? It's a lot of like scale of 1 to 10 stuff. Don't get too caught up in exactly what number is right. Just write the first number that comes to you. And it really doesn't matter in the long run. Just write down whatever comes to you first. Also, for your physical changes, I really would love to see how this changes people in the future. Now, these numbers are a lot for me. Everything that's in these tracking your progress is more for me than it is for you, I think, so that I can see how, on average, people are changing. Now, I want you to write in your current weight and your measurements for your physical changes starting at the beginning of these 6 weeks, and then we're going to look at those again at the end of the 6 weeks. So your weight, that's easy. Your measurements, you just take a flexible tape measure, just like if you were at a tailor or something like that, and measure your right bicep, your left bicep, your waist at your navel, your hips at their widest, and your left and right thigh. Now, this is important for you to track just because sometimes as you stretch and start building up muscle mass, your weight may not fluctuate so much, but your measurements might. So this is a really interesting way to see how your body is changing as well. Now, I don't expect a ton of change in 6 weeks, but I'd love to see a little bit of change. And if you do this course over the whole 6 months of, the 4 classes over 6 months, then that's when the change really starts to happen. Now, also in this tracking your progress, you're going to have some questions like in the beginning, what have you done this week to feel happier? What goal would you like to set for yourself? Where do you want to be in 6 months? Questions like that. A lot of them are going to be questions that wrap up from the guided journaling and through the end of the week kind of give you what did you get out of this week? Those kind of questions are in there. So you want to do those right before the next class, and they kind of just wrap up the week for you and track your progress. So that's the basic layout for class. Next week is going to be really fun as long as and the basis of what you do this week is really going to set you up for where we go over the next couple weeks and how to turn all your fears and insecurities around. So don't skimp on your journaling, really do some good soul searching on it. I think you'll really find in the next couple weeks how everything can change. Everything could totally change for you. All right. So that's it for today. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them into the chat now. I'll be happy to answer them. If you need to log off, go ahead, or just give me a good to go if you don't have any questions. All right. Just let me know if you got anything. Oh, Tara says, just wondering what your thoughts are on meditation versus prayer. That's a great question, and I have a really awesome answer. When you meditate, okay, so they're two sides of the same sphere, right? Prayer is yang. You push away. You say, God, this is what I want. And you're talking and you're saying, right? That's prayer is yang. It's a push. It's a giving. It's a expression. You're giving out. Meditation is yin. It's receptive. So when you meditate, you're actually sitting and waiting for answers. It's kind of like the difference between talking and listening. Prayer is talking. Meditation is listening. So for now, your meditation is going to focus really on just being comfortable sitting and listening and being comfortable in silence. But as we go through the course and we get further and further along, especially in the higher levels, meditation really becomes a way to start listening for your intuition and listening for answers. And that's what meditation is. Does that make sense? They're kind of two sides of the same coin, but one's a push and one's a give. Yeah, it's not I got that from someone else, but to me, it really, really makes a lot of sense that way. And I think a lot of times that's what we're missing in the idea of prayer, is that people don't take time to listen. They take so much time to talk, they don't take enough time to listen. And that's what we're really doing in this course, is you're learning to listen to yourself. You're learning to listen to your true being. You're learning to listen to your soul. You're learning to take information from the spiritual world. This class is very spiritual, and I don't make it a religious experience. I mean, you can choose and you can do whatever you want. It can even be scientific, but it is kind of this way to listen to what's happening underneath everything else and hearing the answers that are really deep inside. Make sense? It's a great question. Cool, cool, cool. What else? Any other questions? I totally planned this week out so that you could eat everything you want at Thanksgiving. That's what I'm going to do. I'm so excited about that. Very good. All right, so if there aren't any more questions, we'll go ahead and log off, and you guys get started on your guided journaling, hopefully tonight or maybe tomorrow, and jump in on that meditation. Really try it out. If you feel like you need to, start getting up a little bit earlier if you're a morning person, or finding time on your lunch break, or even like before you go to bed. Figure out a time that you can block where nobody's going to bother you. And that may mean getting up at 3 in the morning. I'm kidding. Don't get up at 3 in the morning, but that may be what it is. All right? Very good. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you too, Shannon. And Tara, sorry I missed your Canadian Thanksgiving. And I will see you guys next Monday. Remember, you can log in either at noon, at 5, or at 6 Central Time. And then also make use of the Facebook page. And I'm going to get this video posted up hopefully soon for everyone to watch after the fact, in case you miss them, if you miss a class. All right? All right. Great. I will see you guys next week. Have a great Thanksgiving.